Welcome back to Tuesday Tips at 2 with the Goldbergs, sans Sarah Goldberg. I'm Danny Goldberg, and I'm going to continue with what I might deem to be the esoteric sort of discussion as to how our judicial system, specifically the civil judicial system, works. And that'll all be coming before we get into what might be more the meat and potatoes of actual practice of how the civil judicial system and you might interact. Whether it being what sort of insurance considerations to put into effect, how you gauge a contract before you sign it, what to do when a dispute arises, construction problems with your contractor, this problem with that, and that problem with this. We got plenty to cover in the weeks to come. But for now, we're going to start off and discuss the jury trial system. Truly the best possible means of determining a dispute or an outcome to dispute in the world. I'm a big fan and believer of it because it's truly the best possible one in that it's the fairest one. Other systems use an individual decision maker, a judge, or sometimes a panel to help resolve a dispute between two parties. Here in the U.S., you're entitled in your civil lawsuits, also your family disputes, and also and especially criminal prosecutions to a jury. That is a bunch of strangers showing up, listening to the facts of a case, this side's arguments, that side's arguments, and coming up with a decision as to who wins, who loses, who's liable, who's not. Why would anyone want to subject themselves to what 12 random yahoos have to think and say about their lives and the most important possible problem happening for them at that moment? Indeed, it's a good question. I personally have suffered losses, personal and professional, at the hands of jurors that made a mistake. And it's regular that you have jurors being overturned, jury verdicts that is, being overturned in the appellate courts. Now, is there a better system out there? No, there isn't. And here's why. Just like a plaintiff has no idea who these jurors might be that will come and hear his or her case, neither does the defendant. Just like a defendant in criminal proceedings has no idea who's going to be hearing his case, neither does the prosecutor. And this drives a level of uncertainty which levels the playing field. This is much different than in certain, dare I say, arbitrations, as I'm involved in many of them, or certain administrative state enforcement actions, such as Department of Labor suing to enforce some of its rules, the EPA doing the same, where those problems and arbitrations are determined by one guy, an arbitrator, a judge, who both decides upon procedure, upon how law is applied, and also upon fact. A factual dispute. He says this, she says that. Now, do we want one person to make that decision? Why or why not? The problem is this. That individual may be biased. But Danny, wouldn't 12 jurors or 6 jurors also possibly be biased? Absolutely they will. And yet there's more of them to make a determination, and you don't know who they are in advance, which is vastly different than an arbitration or an executive court where you might actually know who the judge is in advance. And your previous relationships and your previous outcomes with him might in some way or another help bias him onto in that present case. This is completely different with jurors. When you get to the jury trial, to the long process of the lawsuit, you sit in front of sometimes 36, 48, some more, sometimes less, depending upon the court and the state, a panel of jurors. And for the process of what's called a voir dire, or as we say in Texas, voir dire. In that process, you wean out those that might have certain biases that you just can't handle, those that can't sit through the case, etc. And then the jury's impaneled. And though they might be biased individuals, as all human beings are, they're total random strangers to both you and your case. And that's what helps create a fair, level playing field, a match of which there is none in any other judicial system out there. It helps the lawsuit because you don't know what will happen in the end, and it'll help bring about settlement outcomes often before the actual jury trial ever occurs. I'm Danny Goldberg, a big fan of the American judicial system, as you'll hear in this and other future episodes. wishing you a wonderful week ahead. And until next time, and there will be a next time because I will be forced back in this seat, take care.